So, Michael, tell us about yourself and tell us how you got started into tech.
Sure. My name is Michael Devore. I'm from Hampton, South Carolina originally. I got started in tech at Clark University. I actually got accepted there on a full academic scholarship. So for the first, 2 years, I just focused on my grades, trying to make sure that, I did not lose my scholarship. And then my junior year, I really got bored with school. I was still doing well in my classes, but with everything I was learning in business, I wanted to actually apply those concepts to something in real life, and it's something that could help people. And so my professors actually encouraged me to do business competitions because they thought I was pretty innovative, and they thought I always come up with cool ideas in the class setting. Um, so I actually started doing business competitions. Claflin University brought back their business competition, and in 2014, they kind of call it the Shark Tank business competition to really fire up students to get a lot of interest.
Oh, that's awesome.
Thank you, Eli. So at that time, I presented an idea that was pretty futuristic. I'm not sure if it was even possible, but I basically sold it to the audience and made everybody feel like it was real. So the name of that idea was called Instaprints. And the basis of that idea was this. I wanted to make it so where people could use their smartphones to pull up documents and projection print onto paper that already had ink inside of it. And so
Whoa.
when you projected, the ink would rise up inside of the shapes of the text.
Almost like
And
Braille?
almost like Braille, and you could projection print a document in seconds, no matter where you were. So that was the idea.
That's genius. That is a genius thing to. Did it ever come through, or did it ever get put into the works?
So it didn't come through, but here's what I know. There are smartphones right now with Pico projectors. That's what they called it. Samsung has some devices like that where you can show a movie on your wall from your phone. And they do have paper out there that has ink inside of it already. So some of the parts are true. I'm just not sure if the rest of the technology needed is now present to make it possible. Because what sold the audience was this. At this time, I did not have access to mobile app developers or coders or anything like that. What I did was I created a PowerPoint presentation, and I had a clicker. And I had my teammates, we practiced for weeks to get this timing down. But there was a huge screen that our presentation was on behind us on stage. And so I had my teammates go and actually click the buttons on the PowerPoint presentation. And I had the clicker behind my back clicking at the same time, making it look like it was interactive. So one, the audience was blown away because they're trying to figure out how do you make this interactive? Like how are they doing this right now? And so the PowerPoint had a lot of cool features that made it look like this was real, it was working. And so for students, I said, it would be great if you went to class, especially if you had one of those professors that don't play, if you don't have that assignment on their desk when you walk in the door, that's an F, that's a 0. But it'd be cool if you walked in and maybe you worked all night, on that paper, which most college students sometimes they do, and they just simply exhausted. They're tired. They did all that work and forgot to print it out. It would be nice if the teacher was like, okay, I'm about to give you an F for not having your paper. And you're like, wait, no, I have my phone, I have the paper, let me print it real quick. Here's my paper, here's my assignment. Now I can get a good grade. And so that really, got a lot of students in the audience excited about it because they're like, I need this. Like, this will save my life. Like, I want to use this. And so through that competition, we won first place. We got $5,000. And it was me and 3 of my female classmates who were just like the most brilliant in their field of science, accounting, and business.
That blows my mind. So now that explains why you went into, entrepreneurship. What inspired you to start your own business? Like just straight out of school? Was it in the middle of being in college? How did you go about that?
So it was actually the same year. So the competition told me that I could compete again next year, but I couldn't use the same idea, right? And so that made me think about live chair. Because I would go across the road to the barbershop to get my hair cut. And in Orangeburg, South Carolina, where I went to school, It was Claflin University and South Carolina State University. They're literally next door to each other. And right across the road were 6 barbershops who were also next door to each other, which is crazy because it's a lot of competition. However, what I found was whenever I go get a haircut, let's say if I went 3 o'clock on a Thursday, there would be nobody inside the shop. There'd be 6 barbers. I'm one person getting my haircut by one barber. None of them are making any money during that hour. But all of a sudden at 4 o'clock, that's when the barbershops flooded with a lot of people. And some people would get frustrated and say, oh my God, I can't believe I have to wait this long to get a haircut. And the barbers were like, you know, if you would have just came 30 minutes earlier, there was nobody ahead of you. You would have been first in line. And so I noticed, one, that was an issue. You know, barbers not being able to communicate with these students when they were free. And there were about 5,000 African-American males right across the road that needed haircuts at any given time. And so that's a huge number of clients to possibly cutting their hair. And I also noticed just back on the college campus, my friends that landed job interviews, they always landed these interviews at the wrong times where they didn't have a lot of money to go get a haircut. And so we all know the first thing that people judge about you when you walk into a room before you even speak is your physical appearance. And so I wanted these young men to be able to put their best foot forward, knowing that they're well groomed for these opportunities. And so my app originally would allow these students to go to the barbershops and communicate with the barbers to know when they're free to increase the barbershop's foot traffic. And 2, if these students could show these barbers like, hey, I got a job interview coming up. Could you give me a discount on my haircut? Because I'm a poor college student. I might can't afford it, but I really want this life-changing opportunity. Could you help me? And that was the original concept. And that was also in 2014. And later that year, December 2014, I got invited to go to Microsoft's headquarters to present the idea. And so they flew us out there and we became national top 5 finalists. And that's also where I met Super Bowl champion Ray Lewis, who also really liked the idea.
Wow, so you've always been on the path to success, technically.
I've always believed in working hard and being on the path to success. My main motivation was that my mother was a substitute school teacher all my life. She only made like $14,000 a year, and she used that money to raise 2 boys. And so she's the queen of making a dollar stretch. And so she's always instilled the importance of education into me. And so I took that and I just ran with it because I knew I wanted to be successful so my mother wouldn't feel like, she wasted her time making the sacrifices that she made for me and my younger brother.
So yeah, let's talk about that. Talk about being Black. How is it being Black in tech?
So being Black in tech is very interesting. A lot of times, we don't always get the same opportunities as our white counterparts. An article just came out like 2 days ago that really showed that this problem is still really bad. And so in that article, they talked about how many startups received venture capital investments. And the number was in the billions, but only 0.61%, or maybe it was 0.06%. It was very small. A very small number of that money went to entrepreneurs of color, right?
Wow.
And so the crazy thing about that is that anyone can have an idea, no matter what color you are. Anyone can have an idea. An idea is free, right? And so it's very telling when those numbers come out about where the money is being invested and who makes those decisions about where the money is being invested. Because there are a lot of great ideas that entrepreneurs of color have, but the hard part is getting the funding needed to execute, right? And basically, for us to get funding a lot of times, we have to go a lot farther than our white counterparts. And so, it's been some cases where a kid drops out of college, has a crazy idea, doesn't have any investors, doesn't know anybody, but he might get a check for $1 million, right? And there might have been a Black entrepreneur who was, full of wisdom, years of experience, had a great idea, people love the product, and they'll go up into these VC meetings and walk out with no investments whatsoever. And so it's really, it's really difficult to be a minority in this industry. You have to really love what you do and be passionate about it and be able to, make your money stretch farther than what it can. A lot of times, these people who are working in this industry, a lot of them come from wealth or they come from comfort. They never really had to struggle going up. The most struggle that they have now may be in their startup companies. A lot of them like to brag that they were on a ramen noodle diet, because they had to sacrifice and all this stuff. But to me, I never liked hearing people say that. Just growing up in like a poor family and seeing poor people around me in my
Yeah.
community, you can't be a poverty tourist. Like, you can't glamorize that for me, bragging that you only ate, peanut butter sandwiches, peanut butter jelly sandwiches. It's like, we lived that, and it wasn't by choice. So when
Right.
people glamorize that, it really rubs me the wrong way, because I'm like, dude, like, we don't have a choice in this matter. This matter. Like, your family could be wealthy right now, but you're choosing to struggle just so you can start this company. Like, it's a big difference. But I would say you just have to surround yourself with good people. You find them in this industry, because not everyone's, against minorities. There are a lot of people out there. You just have to find them, usually on social media or however you like to engage with people, networking. You can find good people. And I've found good people in this industry that has helped me, get farther along with my idea than I ever thought it would go, coming from my small dorm room in Orangeburg, South Carolina.
Wow. That's been incredible. You have an incredible story. I didn't even know all this, like, but it makes me sad that we can't balance out, the funding for minorities when we are the most creative people on this earth. It's like, if anybody, the powers that be in certain industries, they always want to make sure they're good and people like their friends are good, but they don't want to make sure they're giving the opportunity to someone like another person of color. It almost becomes like crabs in a bucket.
Exactly. And it's just so sad to see. And you're right. Our culture does create what's cool. They do create, trending topics. They create the new trends. And one of the ones that happened recently that I was excited about, and I love what this guy does, is a young man who made Where the Money Resides.
Yeah.
Like, he was so brilliant. He got a lawyer. He trademarked everything, copyrighted all his stuff, start selling t-shirts immediately. Like, he was not playing when he went viral, right? And he was working for Honda, and the Super Bowl just happened. And don't you know, Honda did not give this man a Super Bowl commercial? And knowing that, people would have actually paid attention, they would have engaged. But I personally feel that they did not give him that opportunity, because he, copyrighted everything, because he was the owner of all his content. And of course, if they owned the content, they would have beat him to the punch and did it. They probably would have put him in a Super Bowl commercial, cut him a check for a small percentage. But, they had an opportunity to uplift, a young Black creator who actually is increasing sales for their dealership, because every time he sells a car, they get a piece of it. They could have amplified him and put him on a high platform, especially during the Super Bowl, and it would have helped them make more money, increase their business.
Well,
And that's what a
hopefully
lot
they
of
still
companies.
partner up and do it anyway. Hopefully they
I
hear
hope so.
this.
I hope so. I hope so, because diversity is good for business. The more you diversify, the more you can increase your revenue. And there's been several studies that show that, but a lot of these companies are slow to just get on the wheel. Slow to just get up to speed on what the current society looks like and what we want and what kind of content we want to see. We want to see representation of people who look like us being successful in a positive light.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, like, what's next for you? Because you would tell me that you weren't transitioning into doing something else because of family and your
Mhm.
priorities changed. So, are
Mhm.
you and you're still going to continue your business, but you're going to be working with others too, working for others as
Yes,
a
yes.
contractor.
Yes. So my goal now is to be a customer success manager working with startups. If it's with my startup live chair, that would be amazing. I'd be happy to be a part of it. Or if it's with another startup, I could be a customer success manager, because I believe in continuously growing and developing myself. I've learned a lot from my current team and the current people that, we interact with on a daily basis. But I also feel like, we can't just limit ourselves to one idea. If the opportunity presents itself, and, if you, like, for example, if you could study under Steve Jobs, and then, after a year, you could go study under Jeff Bezos, or you could go study under Mark Zuckerberg, right? I believe you should take that opportunity, because you can learn something from each one of those people that you can add to your skill set and your tool belt that will help you continue to grow and develop. Yes, you can be successful if you only work under one of them. I'm sure you can, but it's nice just to have, a diverse set of knowledge and experiences that can just, help you grow as a person. And I always believe that. So if I can, do what I love, work with technology and still be able to spend time with my family, have that work-life balance, at this point, that's what's, more important to me. Because when I was in college, I literally did not have to work a job. I wasn't the type of person that partied, drank, drugs, none of that stuff interests me at all. And I really could just focus on my ideas. So I would be in my dorm room when I wasn't in class, just working like crazy. Might play, some games with some of my classmates, Xbox and stuff like that. But any other time, I was working. I was at a dry erase marker board, working out these ideas, trying to see, what would be a great idea, how would it work. So I would tell people, you have to be dedicated, you have to be passionate, and you have to understand, what are your priorities in life? Like what really matters and what things are just a waste of time that won't benefit you in the long term. And once you have those priorities and focus, it just makes it easier for you to chase your dreams and be successful. And then remembering too, you want to reach back and you want to help other people who remind you of yourself who are in that same position that you were once in, because we should be trying to build up our community and helping each other reach our goals and success. Because if one person becomes successful out of your community, let's say they want to, buy an NFL team in the future, you might can afford to put up part of that money, but you might need two or three other people to put up the rest of that money to make that deal actually happen, right? And it'll be nice if you could turn to your best friend or somebody you actually trust that you'd help become successful in their own lane and say, hey man, I'm thinking about making this investment. I want to buy this sports team. Do you want to come in with me? And then they'll say, yeah, I'll come in with you. Let's call our other friend and get him to come in with us too as well. And we'll make the deal happen. Because a lot of times there are certain opportunities that are blocked from people of color simply because we don't have enough money to make the deals or transactions happen. But it'll be nice to have a community that's strong and willing to work together to come in and make these investments to change the wealth disparities and the wealth gaps that we currently see in America now between African Americans and white Americans.
Yeah, and I feel like in our own community sometimes we become crabs in a bucket against each other when we're all trying to go in the same direction. And it makes me really sad because I'm like, what's the purpose of, we're all walking and trying to reach the same goal? Is it you just want to be first? Because who starts first doesn't mean you're going to finish last,
Exactly.
It becomes I don't know, it's an interesting concept where we get in our own way sometimes.
Exactly. And I agree with you. I cannot stand the crabs in the bucket mentality when I see that, especially in people that look like us.
Right.
And it's really frustrating. And I really have to try hard to surround myself with people who are not like that, who, I'm willing to help my brother succeed if I can. If I know
Absolutely.
somebody that literally, for example, let's say if I have a friend who has a clothing line and I know Damon John, who's the CEO of FUBU, and he's a billionaire and he's done all these things in the clothing industry. I will make that connection for my friend. Like I will introduce him and give him a shot to get Damon John as an investor. There are a lot of people like that in our lives every day. They know what you do and they know somebody. It could be a family member that they have. They know somebody who would add a whole lot of value to what you're doing. It could take you to the next level, but they would never make the introduction for you. Like they would never go out their way to help you do that.
Yeah, and tell me about it. I just had to me and Mark, we had to expel some people.
Oh,
Expel some people because, it's like we're going the same direction. We can't do that to each other. And if that's a goal for you, then you're not the type of person, you don't have the character I'm looking for anyway. So we're
right,
trying to just
right.
separate ourselves with them from business. And it's been a blessing ever since, actually, for us. Yeah, we hit the 500 subscriber mark a few just days ago
Mm-hmm.
on our site. And it kind of shook me because I was like, wow, this has been under a month since we premiered it. And if we can just keep supporting each other and being this proactive and like talking to each other and building and networking, we would be unstoppable.
Right, right. And you're right. You got to cut out the bad apples, if you will. You got to get rid of them because they will only hurt your growth, right? And so by you guys doing that, you're setting yourself up for success, right? And so now that you guys figured out something that works, a system that works, you guys can just throw gasoline on that system and watch the fire expand as you guys grow rapidly because you already know, what your customer target wants, what they're looking for. and you
Right.
guys can continue to reach them, and you guys can find new people that understand and share the same vision that you guys have the same traits, qualities, the same standards that you guys have, because that's going to help your team more than anybody who doesn't share those same qualities as you guys. They'll only hold you guys down.
Right. Uh, it's just, I'm glad it kind of happened before good things start happening. So everything kind of worked out for the best. And,
Right.
couldn't be more happier. And to have a peace of mind, mental health in our community is it's misunderstood. And it's a lot of people, they kind of they kind of do stuff where they just don't know what they're doing sometimes. And it all comes back to how you were raised, characters, everything. So finding those people that match up with that, that's life.
That's big time.
But more importantly, when it comes to Black health, I feel like our mental health, we don't ever go see the therapist. We don't ever go, it's like to be shamed almost. It's like, why would you just pray about it? What we get it. You can pray all day, but faith without works
is dead.
Is dead. So yeah. But I want to thank you so much, Mr. Devore,
No
for
problem,
this interview. It was learned so much new stuff. Your knowledge is power, and I can wait to continue to work with you in the future and share whatever blessings we all get and we can build together. But
that sounds great to me, Eli. And I think there was one more question you had for me on that.
Yeah, there is one more question.
Fourth one.
Could you share a talent or a hobby that people don't know you have?
So this is one of my hobbies that a lot of people don't know I have, really. Mark may know this because we grew up playing games together, but I'm a huge fan of anime, right? I love anime, and there's a reason behind that too. I found that in life, one of the happiest times I have been happy, maybe this is the case for a lot of people, is during my childhood, right? Like there were certain things that you did as a kid that just made you happy, right? It could be playing a video game, it could be playing outside,
right?
But it's something about that happiness that always puts you in a good mindset. And so for me, I love watching anime. So I try to make time each week to find a new anime I like or watch anime because it brings me back into this happy place, but it also fuels my creative thoughts, right? Because, whether it was fiction books I used to read, chapter books, things like that, or anime, you see all these new worlds and it takes you places that you can never really go in real life. And it just always keeps my mind sharp, keeps it creative. And I can go back to focus on work or my goals. But yeah, that's one of my hobbies that I still love to do throughout this day. I should be able to speak Japanese by now, but I can't. How much I
Right,
watch.
I love anime too.
It's awesome, and I wish more people would, give it a chance. Cause a lot of people, they sleep on it, or they don't think, oh, I wouldn't like this, but actually give it a shot. Try it out. Like, ask people what's the best anime show out there. It could be One Piece, it could be Inuyasha, it could be, Pokemon if you like that. Like, whatever it is, just give it a shot and see what's out there, because you might find a show that you really like. You might find a character that reminds you of yourself, or maybe that character may be who you're afraid to be, but you always want it to be. So yeah, that's one of my hobbies a lot of people don't know about.
That's awesome. So definitely in the future, we need to plan a trip, me, you, and Mark, to go to one of those, what do you call them, cons? Comic Cons?
Comic-Con. I've always wanted to go to one. I've never
been to one either, so.
Yeah. I would love to.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to let you get back to work and say thank you again, sir, very much for this interview. It was very uplifting. It was very nice to learn these things, and you shed a lot of new knowledge, and I hope a lot of people, I'm going to push this interview really hard because I want a lot of people to see, and hear what you have to say, because what you're saying right now could help change and shape a lot of our young Black men.
Right. Well, in that case, Eli, I'm going to say this last thing then.
Absolutely.
Please check out livechair.co. Our barbershop app is helping bring medical service. I'm going to try that again, Eli.
You're good.
Please check out livechair.co. That's our official website. Our barbershop app is bringing medical services into barbershops. For instance, we're putting blood pressure stations inside of barbershops where men can get their blood pressure taken while waiting on getting their haircuts. And so it's
Wow.
making a huge difference in our communities. It's something that's needed. And if you guys are interested, please go to the Apple Store and Google Play Store and download the Live Chair Client app. If you're the client, tell your barber to download the Merchant app if they are the barber, and also check out our Live Chair Health app for you guys to download, where you can track different health statuses about your body, such as water intake, bowel movements, for example. Whole lot of cool stuff in the new app platform that you can use to track your health. And if you're not healthy right now, you're looking to make changes, definitely download the app, because we do have a section about education that can help you educate yourself about how to become a healthier version of yourself so that you can live a longer life and be there to spend more valuable moments with your family.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you so much for that. Please send me some of that information in the email, and I'll make sure that everyone, sees this, because yeah, it's an honor talking to you, man. And yeah, we definitely have to do this again sometime.
Definitely.
I definitely want to do some group ones. There are more people in Black tech can talk more. And definitely you would be one of the main voices I would love for, to start with.
Happy to do it, Eli. Just keep me up there, let me know, and I'll be there.
Oh, absolutely, man. Absolutely. But I will leave you with this. Keep creating, and we thank you so much here at ELIME. And until next time, sir.
Bye, Eli.
Later.